The story is about a young Amish woman by the name of Emma Miller, who is longing for an adventure that will help her find her path in life. The movie begins with a woman riding along a highway. She is enjoying the wind blowing her hair and the sun shining on her beautiful face. That is all cut off when we see our protagonist, Emma. The previous scene had been a dream, as she wakes up on top of a magazine. Her sister rushes her out of the room by saying that they need to finish their chores. Her sister asks her whether she was reading a magazine again, which is not allowed in Amish culture. Even though Emma knows that she isn't allowed to do as such, she still does it as she sees nothing wrong in doing so. As they ride their bikes back home, through the beautiful scenery of the town of Shipshewana, Emma says hello to one man passing by who happens to be an Englisher, again which is not allowed. Her sister scolds her again, but she says that she was just saying hello. She reminds her that she has a man that loves her dearly. Emma agrees that Jacob is a great man, but she also admits that there's no connection there and that she finds him rather boring. The sisters arrive home and start on their chores. Whilst Emma hangs up the clean clothes, she sees a plane. She gets lost in her world while looking at the plane and doesn't notice that her father is looking at her. They finish their chores and we see Emma in the kitchen. She is making cheese, but little does she know about the recognition her cheese was about to get. After dinner, Emma goes to the shed and lights up a candle. She sits down on one of the hay bales and reads her favorite book, Pride and Prejudice. As she reads the main character's monologue in the book, she realizes that she is just like the character. Whenever Emma reads this book, she tends to disconnect herself from reality, as she goes to a dreamland where all of her fantasies are true. That, however, is quickly stopped by her father's footsteps. Emma hurries to hide the book as her father approaches her and pretends as if nothing had happened. He says that she's not a little girl anymore, and she doesn't have to sneak into the shed late at night to read her book. Emma is shocked at how her father knew, and even proceeds to ask him why he didn't say anything. Her father tells her that he didn't say anything, because he had known from a very young age that she was different. He was going to make her behave the same as her sister, because he knew that she was destined to choose her path. Emma starts crying and says that she had tried to fit in and not be so different. Her father comforts her and says that there's nothing wrong with being different. She will find her path and maybe it would be better if she married Jacob. Emma tells her father that she doesn't want to marry Jacob and even asks him what she should do. Her father gives her a letter from her cousin Lydia Ann and says that she has asked for some help at the farm in Charm, Ohio. Emma doesn't want to leave her hometown, but her father says that it would be for the best. He had noticed how unhappy his daughter was and that wasn't the life he had fished for her. Emma doesn't want to go as she would be far away from her family, but her father tells her that going would help her choose her path. She thanks and hugs her father with tears in her eyes. The next morning, as Emma is about to leave, Jacob comes by her house. Emma tells him that they need to talk. She reveals that she had doubts about everything, including him. She says that leaving for the fall would be amazing, because she will have some time to think. Jacob says that he is going to join the church, but to do that he has to have a wife to bring into the church so she could join as well. Emma apologizes to the young man again and says that her decision has been made. They both wish each other the best and Jacob leaves. Emma takes her suitcases and prepares herself for a new chapter in her life. She takes a train to Charm and her excitement can be seen on her face. When she arrives in Charm, she is met by a young handsome man by the name of Noah Weaver. He tells her that her cousin had sent him to pick her up. They make small talk as they ride the carriage and Noah even offers to show Emma around. But she turns him down and says that she can find her way around the town. They arrive at the farmhouse and Emma meets her niece Mary. She sees her cousin and gifts her a block of cheese that she had made. As Emma sits down to read her book at the end of the day, she is interrupted by Noah. He starts talking about the book, but Emma doesn't seem to be interested in it. Noah invites Emma out again as he tells her that he could take her to the library in town, so she could get another book by the same author. Emma declines the offer politely, as she says that she can find her way again. The young man leaves and Emma smiles to herself. The next morning, Emma goes to the library and is more than amazed by the number of books that are on the shelf. She hears a ring and is intrigued by it. She goes over to the other shelf and sees a woman distracted by her phone. She continues to stare at her, and at that moment books come flying down and she warns the young girl to be careful. They laugh about it as nobody got hurt. Emma picks up the girl's phone and hands it to her, but a picture of her and some man catches her attention. She asks about the picture and whether the young man is her boyfriend, and the girl starts talking about how complicated it is. In the middle of talking, she stops herself and apologizes because she doesn't even know Emma. Emma introduces herself and we find out that the girl's name is Kelly Bennett. Emma walks out of the library with a smile on her face, but that smile turns into awe as she sees a rather new and fast car, something that she hasn't seen in real life before. She gets back home and continues her usual and simple life. A couple of days later, as Emma is walking around town, she sees a poster for the Autumn Fest. She sees that there's a cheese auction happening and smiles. She goes back to her usual work at the farmer's market, but can't seem to keep her eyes off Noah and even notices that she has some kind of feeling towards him. As the days go by, Emma gets closer and closer to Kelly, and Kelly's freedom makes her rethink her way of life. Noah helps Lydia around the farm by walking the goats. Emma decides to help him one day, and as they're both running up the hill trying to collect all the goats, Emma trips and lands on top of Noah. It is a rather awkward moment, but a passionate one as well. Emma gets off of Noah and they pretend as if nothing had happened. After putting the goats in their shed, Emma and Noah sit down together. Noah says that Lydia had given him a slice of Emma's cheese and that he was more than amazed. He even asks for the secret ingredient in the cheese, but Emma doesn't reveal it to him. He advises her she should apply for the Autumn Fest to compete at the cheese auction, and she says that she is considering it. He asks her whether there's someone that's waiting to taste her cheese back in her hometown, meaning whether she had a man. Emma says that she does as she pleases, but she is taken aback when Noah asks her to specify. She tells him that she wants something different and that she hasn't found anything different in charm. She says that she wants to see the ocean, but asks the young man if he had made his choice, had he seen both the Amish and the English world. The young man says that this is his world as he walks away from her. The next day, as Emma's walking to the farm market, a car stops her. It's Kelly and she offers her a ride. Emma jumps into the car and the trip begins. The young Amish girl is amazed by the car. She tells Kelly how she wants to see the ocean one day, and how she would love nothing more than to travel the world. Kelly reassures her that that will happen one day as they drive on the roads of the beautiful Charm. They arrive at the market and we can see that Lydia isn't fond of Kelly, as she is an Englisher. Emma takes Kelly to show her around the farm, and that's when Kelly meets Noah. They have a small talk before Noah says that he has something for Emma. He tells her to close her eyes as he puts something on her ear. She says that it sounds alive and like a roar. She opens her eyes to see a shell and Noah says that it's the ocean. After the romantic gesture, Kelly asks Emma what her relationship with the young man is. Emma says that there's nothing of it as she smiles at the thought. Emma reveals to Kelly that she isn't allowed to hang out with an Englisher, and that she has come to Charm to choose her path, whether she would join the church, she would marry an Amish man, or do something completely different with her life. Kelly returns home and tells her aunt that she is more than happy to be there. She tells her about Emma and how non-Amish she was, but says that she must be going through something. Her aunt says that there's something special in Charm for everyone and that she should give it some time. Lydia can't seem to bear the thought of something bad happening to Emma, so she warns her about her friendship with Kelly. This doesn't put Emma in thought, so she doesn't listen to her cousin. As Noah's giving Emma the usual ride to the farm market, he can't help but advise her about the time he had lost trying to find his path just like her. She says that he should let her choose her path, let her go through the troubles herself so she could learn something from them. They arrive at Kelly's aunt's house to deliver the cheese and Emma goes to find Kelly. She goes to the back of the house and sees Kelly with her ex. He starts yelling at her and even starts to pull her to come with him. This scares Emma, but she knows that she has to help her friend. She yells at the man to stop pulling Kelly, but he doesn't listen to her. Noah comes and says the same thing, so the guy leaves not wanting any trouble. To lighten the mood, Noah takes the ladies for some milkshakes. They have a fun time and manage to cheer Kelly up. They go to the farm market and as Emma is stacking up the groceries, a man approaches her. He asks her about the cheese. He says that it's exquisite and even compliments Emma on her beauty. He asks her for an interview about the cheese, and even though Emma isn't fond of the idea, she says yes, and they settle on meeting tomorrow before the auction. Emma smiles to herself but doesn't notice Lydia staring at her with concern. The ladies prepare themselves for the auction late at night, and as they're having a small talk, Emma asks Lydia a rather interesting question. How did she know that her late husband was the one? Lydia says that she knew her husband was the one when he was the first person she wanted to talk to and that he was her best friend. Emma admits that she feels lost and scared about her path, and Lydia says that they should pray and the answer will come to her. Emma smiles in relief and they go to bed. The next morning, Noah, Emma, Lydia, and Mary go to the Autumn Fest. They go straight to the auction and Emma gets pulled aside by Andy, the Englisher. They sit down and Emma blushes as Andy compliments both her cheese and her. Andy says that her cheese would be very successful in Manhattan. He offers to take her to the city and show her around. Emma smiles and says that she would love to, but before she says anything she is cut off by Noah's name on the microphone. She takes Andy's hand and they go to see what's happening. They see Noah and two other guys competing in a wood chopping contest. Noah ends up winning with the least swings and he gets $200. Emma's auction is next and she tries to leave, but Andy cuts her off saying that the interview hasn't finished yet. They settle on meeting the next night at the fair, and Emma says that it's a date, which brings a smile to Andy's face. The auction starts and it's Emma's turn to shine. Her cheese starts at a low price but goes higher as Andy joins the auction. Noah notices him and tries to compete with him. Noah offers $200 for the cheese, but Andy is ahead of him as he offers $500 for it. The young Amish man leaves with disappointment and anger toward himself. Emma puts the money aside. She plans on helping her family with it. The next morning, Emma goes to the farm to give water to Noah. He makes small talk with her but can't help himself and asks about the Englisher. He warns her about him and his people, and Emma gets pissed off. She tells him that other people's opinions will not stop her from doing what she wants as she storms off. Like any friend would, Emma goes to Kelly for some help on the situation. She asks her how she knew when she was in love with her ex. Kelly reveals that she's had a troubled relationship with her ex, and that she spent more time being out of love than in love with him. She says that she tried to make everyone happy and that exhausted her. Emma asks Kelly for the reason she and her ex broke up, and Kelly reveals that he had cheated on her. She says that her school had a study abroad project, and that's when everything went downhill for her relationship. She called off the engagement and she came to Charm. She wasn't so fond of the idea, but her next chapter began when she came to Charm. Emma says that she will be praying for her friend to find the happiness she deserves. Kelly laughs as she says that that won't be much of help. The girls take a ride back to Kelly's place. Kelly notices Emma staring at her shoes and asks her whether she likes them. Emma says that they're gorgeous, but this puts her in deeper thought. She wishes for more color in her life because her life seemed so bland to her, and she wanted to change that. Kelly, being the good friend she is, takes Emma to get her some color in her life. They arrive at Kelly's house and go to her room. Kelly pulls out a box with all sorts of colorful shoes and high heels. Emma gets excited and wants to try shoes on, but doesn't think that it would be appropriate. She says that shoes must be plain so that they don't draw attention. Kelly convinces Emma to at least try the shoes on. Emma tries on a beautiful pair of gold sandals that fit her so amazingly. She tries to walk in them but almost sprains her ankle. Kelly laughs at her and tells her to relax. She asks Emma how she feels, and she says that she feels different but good. After having some fun girly time, the two girls go back to Lydia's. As they pull up in the driveway, they see an old woman coming out of the house. They also see Noah and Lydia by the porch. Emma notices that something bad is going on and asks her cousin for an explanation. Lydia tells her that Mary had gotten chicken pox and it is contagious. They can't be in the house for at least 10 days, so she called Emma's parents to inform them. Emma has never had chicken pox and is expected to come back home, because they get more dangerous the older you get. The young girl protests as she's not ready to go home yet. Her cousin says that she can't stay, but Kelly chimes in and says that Emma could stay at her place. Lydia says no immediately, but Emma gets loud and says that there's nothing wrong with that. The cousins start to argue and Noah cuts them off by saying that Lydia should let Emma go. He walks away and they all look at him confused. Things are in Emma's favor as she leaves her cousin's house with suitcases into Kelly's car. Emma settles in her new room and unpacks. She gets ready for bed, and as she takes her cap off, stares at her beautiful hair in the mirror. She imagines what it would be like to go out with her hair down, the wind blowing and her hair just like in her dreams. She's quickly filled with guilt as she puts her hair in a bun and put her cap back on. The night of the date comes and we see Emma and Andy at the fair. Emma starts talking about how nice it would be to visit different places and to be able to travel the world. Andy cuts her off and says that it's both good and bad. Emma doesn't believe his words. Andy agrees with her that the world is beautiful and great, but says that every once in a while you come across a thing that is so beautiful it takes your breath away. Curiosity gets to Emma and she asks him what the thing was. Andy starts talking about the time when he was in Rome. He was standing in front of the Trevi Fountain, which is one of the most romantic places in the world. Everything was so beautiful, but it bothered Andy that he was alone. He says that he had taken a coin, made a wish, and thrown it into the fountain. Emma smiles and asks what his wish had been. Andy says that he can't tell her the wish because it might not come true. He says that he doesn't worry about the wish, because the wish had come true at that moment as he looks deeply into Emma's eyes. He tells Emma that he would show her all the places she reads about in her book if she were to let him. Emma says that it's not so easy for her and that she wouldn't be able to do such a thing. Andy accepts her answer but says that they could search for the world at the fair. He spots something and takes Emma by her hand. He takes her to a gyro stand and says that they should taste the part of Greece. They sit down and eat some delicious food. Emma is so caught up in the conversation, she doesn't even notice Noah standing and looking at her with sad eyes. When he sees them, he leaves immediately, as he cannot stand to look at Emma when she's with him. After eating the food, Emma and Andy get on the interview. Andy asks Emma what the secret ingredient to her delicious cheese is. Emma smiles and says that she adds a little bit of honey to it. The first time Emma had added the honey was an accident, but she continued to use it after tasting the cheese. Andy asks whether that was a family tradition, and even though Emma says that it's not, Andy writes that in his notepad. Emma is confused as to why Andy would lie, and he tells her that it's just to draw the reader in. When they finish the interview, Adam asks Emma if she would like to have a real dinner with him before he leaves. Emma smiles and says yes, and they settle on a date at the inn. Emma gets a call the next morning. It's from her sister. Her sister tells her that she is going to marry Jacob and that she hopes she's happy for her. Emma is lost for words, so she goes to her friend straight away. She tells Kelly that she feels so relieved that she didn't marry the wrong guy, and that she's so happy for her sister. She reveals that she feels free, like she can make her own choices and not be scolded for them. Kelly is happy for her but is shocked to find out that Emma has a date with Andy that she doesn't know about. They go home immediately and spend the rest of the day getting ready. Dress after dress, Emma finally finds her fit and looks beautiful in it. The time comes and Andy arrives. He sits at the table and waits for his date. A couple of minutes later, Emma walks in and Andy stares at her with awe. He compliments her and helps her sit down. Andy orders food for both of them and red wine for himself. He even asks Emma if she wants a drink and she says that she doesn't drink. On the other side of Charm, we see Noah at Lydia's. She is surprised to see Noah not finish his pie. She notices that something is wrong with Noah, so she asks him what was going on. He says that everything hurts and asks Lydia for some advice. The only thing she says is that you have to fight for the one you love, and Noah sprints out of the door. On the other side of town, things are weird between Andy and Emma. She notices that they don't have a lot in common. Andy cuts the conversation and tells Emma to come with him to watch the fireworks. Emma doesn't even have time to answer as he drags her out of the restaurant. After they leave, Noah comes to the inn and asks for Emma, but she is nowhere to be found. Emma and Andy arrive at the spot and sit in a car. The view is amazing and the fireworks are bright, but Emma doesn't feel comfortable with how close Andy is. Sometime later, Andy tries to kiss Emma, and even though she says no, he tries to kiss her with force. She pushes him off of her and walks back to the inn with tears in her eyes. She gets back to her room and packs her stuff as she's more than ready to go back home. Kelly sees her and tries to stop her, but Emma leaves. Kelly goes after her, but Emma soon stops when she sees Noah in front of her. Noah looks at her with hope in his eyes. Emma says that she had found faith in herself and that she finally has the answer to her questions. She says that she had found the one who always listens to her, who is her best friend. She says that she has found someone she loves and that was the place where she belonged. She smiles at Noah and he smiles back. They kiss and their love is finally formed. 1 year later, we see Emma with her beautiful baby. She gets a visit from Kelly, who brings her great news about the success of her cheese. Emma smiles as she sees a plane in the sky. What was once Emma's biggest wish had become unimportant as she held her baby, her purpose, and path in her hands.